You know, if I were to pick one of the 7 C's that made really the biggest difference to young people's resilience, it would simply, hands down, have to be connection, the power of human connection. What does 6 decades of research tell us? It tells us that the kids are going to be resilient, the kids are going to be able to thrive through difficult times and flourish during good times, are the kids who are connected. The kids who have at least one adult, more is better, who believe in them without condition and hold them to high expectation. You know, when we're talking about connections, clearly the most important connection is that comes from their parents, but the more connections, the better. You know, great if they have connections with extended family, with siblings, with coaches, with teachers, with the community, with culture, with spiritual homes. All of that makes kids richer and safer. You know, some of these connections with your own child you've earned just because you're their parent. But I have to tell you that I want to prepare you for the fact that during adolescence, some of those connections might feel challenged. You know, suddenly your child might wish you were invisible. Sometimes your child might even hate you for a few days or months. And for you to get past it without actually believing for a minute that your connection is really impaired, what I want you to understand is what's going on. Kids ultimately are going to have to fly from our parental nest. And that is an unbelievably challenging and scary thing for them to do. Who wants to fly from a nest that's all comfortable and cozy? You want to fly from a nest that's prickly. You want to fly from a nest that you couldn't imagine staying in 1 minute longer. Kids have to go through an experience of feeling like they hate you, of wishing you weren't around because they love you so much it hurts. And they want you around so badly that they can't imagine a future where you're not going to always be there. So if you understand that, and you understand that our connection with our kids is challenged during adolescence, not because they really don't like us, but because they love us so much it hurts, it allows us to maintain that connection. How else do we keep our connections going during adolescence? It's by not creating too much drama. You know, we always want to kind of solve our kids' problems, maybe hover, react really strongly. And when we do, we push kids away. Adolescence is about figuring things out on your own. Not because you necessarily want to, but because you must. And when parents get really hovering and controlling or dramatic, then what happens is we push our kids away. Parents, we should be like a lighthouse on the shoreline, a stable force from which our kids can measure ourselves against. We should absolutely look down at the rocks and make sure our kids don't crash against them. We should look into the waves and trust that our kids are going to learn to ride them and prepare them to do so. When we're lighthouse parents, ever present, but also trusting their growing independence, kids want to stay connected with you. They want to keep looking back at the shoreline and making sure you're there. Remember, ultimately, when we're talking about our connections, we don't want to have relationships that end at 18. We want relationships that are going to last forever. So while our goal is absolutely independence, our real goal, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, is interdependence. We want our kids to be involved in our lives until we're old. We want to know our grandchildren. What's the secret of maintaining that connection? It's not being overly controlling. Kids have to grow up. They have to become independent. And when we put so many demands on them, when we hover over them, when we control their lives, it is their obligation to push us away. And when they have the freedom to be able to stand on their own, they don't want to turn back. Instead, we want our kids to know that we want them to be independent. We're like the wind behind their sails. That's our goal for them. We don't install the control buttons. Then what happens is when our kids learn that they can fly on their own, they want us involved in their lives. They want our continued presence. And why are multiple connections so important beyond our parental love? Because we remind people that they're part of something, part of a culture, a community, a team, a spiritual community, a family. It reminds them that they matter. They matter to other people. The bottom line is this: human connection is at the root of our security. It's what gives us the confidence to be able to meet challenges. And we're always stronger when we join together, connected in a common effort.